وأصلي وأسلم على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة صدق الله مولانا العظيم. Amma ba'd, I'd like to begin by greeting all those present at this masjid in Kelvin, Masjid Abdullah Salaam, and as well as all those listening via the radio station, medium wave 1548, the satellite, as well as audio streaming through the website. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, there's an anecdote which truly illustrates how we live our lives. There was once this American banker, and we're living in an era where the world is almost controlled by the bankers. They control the exchange rate, and in so doing, they control the finances of the world. So he was visiting a small town in Mexico. He was on holiday. And one bright sunny morning, while walking along the coast, he passed by a pier. While standing there, he notices a lone boatman coming in on his small boat. And as the boatman docks, he observes some fish in his boat. So he starts chatting to him and he strikes up a conversation and he compliments him for the fish that he caught. And then he asks him a question. He says, how long did it take you to catch this fish? So the Mexican, the boatman, he responds by saying, it just took me a little while. So then he follows up with another question. The American asks him that, why don't you catch fish for longer? So he says, no, I have a busy life. I sleep till late, then I catch fish for a while, go home, I play with my kids, I have an afternoon siesta, then late in the afternoon, I take a walk into the village, I sit with my friends, we drink juice, we play board games. I have a busy life, I don't have time for anything else. So the American banker scoffs at him and says, I have a degree in business from Harvard University. Let me advise you. Instead of catching fish for a short while, why don't you catch fish for a longer period of time? And in so doing, you'll catch more fish. And if you have more fish, soon after that, you'll build up more money and you'll be able to buy a bigger boat. And if you have a bigger boat, you'll be able to catch more fish from the bigger boat. And while you're catching more and more fish, then don't worry about the middleman. Start a canning factory yourself, and you can then control this entire market. But for that, you'll have to move from this small coastal town to a big city like LA. And the Mexican is totally amazed by this, and he's listening intently. And he asks him that, so how long will this take? So he says it should take you between 10 and 15 years. And he says, then what? And he says, and then you announce, once your enterprise is going well, you announce that you're now listing on the stock exchange. And people can buy shares. And then you'll make lots of money. You'll make millions. And the Mexican listens and says, millions, and then what? He says, and then you move to a small coastal town where you can sleep till late and you can catch fish for a while. You can play with your kids. You can then take a walk in the evening to the town, sit with your friends, sip juice, and play games. The Mexican says, I already have that now. And that is the reality for us. That which we are searching for, that happiness, that fulfillment, in all likelihood, it's closer to us than we really think. It is there, it is glaring at us. Yet we pin our hopes, we pin our aspirations, we pin our desires on fanciful objectives and things that we'd like to achieve, And then when we don't achieve that, that is when we feel unfulfilled. If we look at life at this moment across the globe, life has, the standard of living has objectively progressed by any standard you can think of. In every way, we've advanced. Yet there are more people that are feeling hopeless, helpless. There's this void, this emptiness. Now, there are people who commit suicide. There are people who are clinically depressed, and they are on one side. But the average person, there comes this time when people ask themselves that, is this what's life all about? Or, what am I really searching for in my life? Where am I going with my life? And then this leads to this emptiness within us, that we start to question that, why am I going to work every day? What am I working for? How much is enough? How much is enough? At what point do I stop and say, I have enough? Or at what point do I stop channeling my energies and says, I've given enough of myself? Where do I draw the line? And we're grappling with this. And these are things that create confusion. It creates this emptiness. It creates this void within ourselves. And one of the major reasons why we have this is because we have a grand, elaborate plan for our lives. How are we going to live our lives? What will happen in terms of our children? What are our aspirations? What are our objectives? What are our ambitions for them? And we expect everything to fall in place exactly as we want it to be. Not leaving any room for anything to go wrong. And we make dua that this is what I want and this is what I need to get. And when things do not fall in place as we want it to be, then we find that we now become unfulfilled. We feel this emptiness and this void. So if a person is writing exams, his dua is simply, I want to pass with such and such %. But he doesn't leave the leeway. What if it's not in my best interest to pass at this moment? Or if it is that he wants to, he's involved in a business transaction, I want this transaction to be successful at this moment. Or if he's proposing for a girl, he wants the answer to be positive at this moment. And in every aspect, and we can extend it according to our own circumstances, that what is it that we want, and we want it to be like that at this very moment. And then the reality is that it's not going to happen like that. And sometimes there's a bigger plan at play from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when things do not go as we want it to go, then we find that we tend to feel empty and void, unfulfilled. And we question as to where our lives are going. What could be more devastating for any parent than losing your own child? There could be nothing worse than that. Your only child. And when we look at the story, the anecdote, the incident that is referred to in the Noble Quran of the meeting between Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Khidr alayhim as-salatu was-salam. And when Sayyidina Musa accompanied Sayyidina Khidr, and what was the first thing that he did? Or the second thing that he did? فَانْتَلَقَا حَتَّى إِذَا لَقِيَ غُلَامًا فَقَتَلَهُ. They continued on their path until they met a young boy. And Sayyidina Khidr took the life of the boy. Sayyidina Musa obviously found this to be strange, unique, and something that he could not bear, something that was totally against everything that his Sharia stood for. So he objected that, why is it that you're killing someone? How can you take a life of someone who is innocent? And Sayyidina Khidr told him to wait, that he will explain. And there were other incidents that occurred where Sayyidina Musa could not bear this anymore. And eventually, when the time had come to depart, Sayyidina Khidr then explained and he said, وَأَمَّا الْغُلَامُ فَكَانَ أَبَوَاهُ مُؤْمِنَيْنِ فَخَشِينَا أَن يُرْهِقَهُمَا طُغْيَانًا وَكُفْرًا فَأَرَدْنَا أَن يُبْدِلَهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا خَيْرًا مِّنْهُ زَكَاةً وَأَقْرَبَ رُحْمًا. But as for the parents of this young boy, they were Muslims. They were pious, they were righteous, they were upright. And if the boy had to grow up, this boy would become a means of the kufr, the deviation of his parents. And to avoid that situation, it was in the divine decree of the unique system of Allah that this boy had to be taken away to prevent the parents from that greater harm. Because you lose your iman, you've lost everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ. That there are many times that you may dislike something, yet that is good for you. And there are times when you will very earnestly desire something, yet that is not good for you. That it may not be good for you to get married at this time. It may not be good for you to have children this time. That business deal that went sour, that went the wrong way, it was in your best interest at this time for you to suffer a loss. Allah knows, you do not know. And there may be things that you desire that Allah says is not good. There may be things that you think is bad for you, yet it will produce a positive result when Allah so decree. That very parents, they lost their child. Years later they had a daughter, and the commentators say that from that very daughter of theirs, there were 70 Anbiya that were born from the progeny. What Allah decrees, what is in His divine system, we need to have faith in that. We need to be convinced about that. And when we place our trust that, Ya Allah, I'm not prescribing what you have to grant me. I'm asking you to grant me what is best. Under all circumstances, in every situation, you give me what is best. That is what I'm asking for. And if you have this, you'll find that there will be a new sense of fulfillment in your life. That your life there will be a different attitude that will engulf you at this time. So that is the first point. The second point is, how do we live a more fulfilling life? We need to reprioritize. We need to sit down and ask ourselves, what is important? What are those things that I need to focus on? And what are things that are secondary? What are the things that would, at a later stage, when I'm leaving this world, I would regret why I channeled my energy in all of that? You tell me, which man on his last moments of his life would say, you know what, I regret that one property that I didn't buy, or that one business dealings that went bad, or I regret that I didn't pass that one exam when I was in university. Are there people like that? Very unlikely. When it comes to your last moments of your life, then you would reflect on your relationship with your Allah and the relationship with your fellow human beings. That how much time did you spend with them? How much, or if the time that you spent with them, or did you fulfill their rights? Did you neglect their rights? When the Sahaba had made hijrah to Madinatul Munawwarah, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had established a brotherhood between individuals from the galaxy of the Sahaba, and he established a brotherhood between Sayyidina Abu Darda and Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhum. They had a very close relationship, and they would visit each other from time to time. And one day, when Sayyidina Salman came to the home of Sayyidina Abu Darda, and he found that things weren't normal. He found things to be strange. He found that the wife of Abu Darda, Darda, was disheveled. And he asked her the question, that why is it that I find you to be disheveled at this moment, as though you have no interest in the world? And she responded by saying, it is your brother Abu Darda, that he is fasting every day, and he is in tahajjud every night, and he has no time and no desires. Abu Darda then comes into the home, and he presents some food to Sayyidina Salman, but he himself doesn't partake. And Sayyidina Salman then asks him as to, are you not going to eat? He says, no, I'm fasting. Sayyidina Salman then makes him oblige. And he says, I'm insisting that you eat alongside with me. And I'm commanding that you break your fast, which is a nafil fast, which is allowed. So he then makes him breaks his fast. And the two start eating together. As the day passes, and now at the nightfall, after they perform the Isha Salah, and it's now time for people to retire to the bed, Sayyidina Abu Darda goes to his musalla and he starts his Qiyamul Layl. And as he's about to start, Sayyidina Salman stops him and says, not now, first you sleep. So he sleeps for a while, he wakes up. Again he wants to perform. Sayyidina Salman says, not now, go back to sleep. And this happens several times until 2/3 of the night had passed. At that moment he wakes up. Sayyidina Salman says, now go ahead and perform your salah. And then he tells him, Inna li jasadika alayka haqqa, wa li rabbika alayka haqqa, wa li ahlika alayka haqqa, fa'a'ati kulla dhi haqqin haqqahu. That indeed your body has a right over you. Your Rabb, your Creator has a right over you. And your family also have a right over you. Give everyone or everything its due right. And in the morning, Sayyidina Abu Darda goes to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and presents these words that Sayyidina Salman had uttered, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam endorses it and says that yes, these are the correct words. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam uttered those very words. So if you want to live a fulfilling life in this world, then you need to have balance in your life. Everything has its time and its place. And when there's excessive activities, when you take something out of its proportionate or its position that Allah has granted it, that is when you have this disbalance, and that leads to now you having a life that is leading to either too much to the dunya, or that you're not fulfilling people's rights that you are obliged to fulfill in this world. So to live that fulfilling life, you need to establish a balance. Understand what is your priorities and to maintain those priorities. And to attach importance to the human relations around you. Because it is those relationships that you build that will grant you the greatest fulfillment. There were two individuals who were in a hospital. Both were terminally ill. There were two roommates, and their beds were together in one room. One was on the one side of the room, and the other was on that side of the room, close to which there was a window. And the two gentlemen, the two people who were here, they would talk to each other. They would talk about life. They would talk about their wives, their kids, their family, the time that they served in the army. And they would talk about life in general. Both of them could not really move. However, the one who was close to the window had a period in the afternoon. Because of his condition where there was water in his lungs, he would be allowed to lift himself up. And while he was up, he was able to catch a glance through the window. And while looking through the window, he would describe to his roommate who was bedridden on the other side what he would see through the window. He would talk about this park that was there. There was a lake. There were young people, children who would come with their boats and play in the lake. There were families having picnics. There was lush gardens with trees and green grass and roses and different types of flowers and plants in the garden. And he would describe these scenes to his roommate on the other side, who would live for the moments when the description would begin, and he would envisage this and it would become alive in his mind and his heart. One day, he described a military band passing by, and he described it with such detail that the other person laying on the other side, even though he couldn't hear the noise of the band, it was real. He could see the band passing by. And this continued for a time, until one day, the nurse came into the room and he found that the one close to the window had passed away. His lifeless body was there. And they were shocked. Anyway, his body was taken away, and now the other one remained alone in the room. He was obviously grieving. It was as though his window to the world had now been shut. He was on his own. when the time was appropriate, he then asked the nurse that, there's a window that my friend used to describe what was outside. If it's okay, if it's, suitable, I'd like to be moved to the window. And the nurse said there's no problem with that. And he was moved to the window. And he waited for the afternoon. Late afternoon, when his friend would describe for him those scenes. And when the time had come, with great effort, he props himself up. With great strain, he eventually is able to raise his body. Then, with even more effort and strain, he turns to the left to look out of the window. And as he looks out of the window, to his utter surprise, all he sees is a blank window, a blank wall. There's nothing out of the window. He is stunned. He is shocked. He's confused. What is this all about? Where are those scenes that my friend used to describe? And as he's reeling the shock, he turns to the nurse and he asks the nurse, but why would he describe all those scenes to me? What would be the reason? And the nurse simply turns to him and says that he was a blind man and perhaps he did it to encourage you. And this is what we're talking about, valuing those relationships with those around you. That those are the things that will give you the most joy in life, the most fulfillment, that emptiness and hollowness that people are experiencing today in this very individualistic and materialistic world that we live in. It is by giving of yourself selflessly, without the hope or expectation of recompensation, remuneration, or that the favor will be returned to me at some point. Because if you're waiting for others to return the favor, then you are not really doing with an open heart. Rather, you'll find yourself keeping score all the time. And you'll only be doing as though it's a deal, it's a transaction. I'll do for those who do for me. But when you do with a generous and magnanimous heart, for those who you hope, there's no hope of any return, that is when that joy and that fulfillment will engulf your heart. So this restlessness that we find in people to attain success in this world, that has left us in this lull and this void. And it is that if we live a life of calmness, if we live a life of calmness, knowing what is my objectives, that will be more fulfilling, that then restlessly and relentlessly trying to pursue success while it continues to elude you and remain out of your grasp. You'll find yourself always wanting and looking at this opportunity and that opportunity, and it will elude you at every time. So it's time that we look within ourselves, value our relationship with Allah, value our relationship with our fellow human beings, and in that way we will find the deepest fulfillment and enjoyment and happiness in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us fulfillment, grant us that feeling of contentment in our lives, the lives of our families and our progeny. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khairi khalqi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I've been asked to announce that there is collection after the Jummah Salah for the Masjid. Please do generously contribute to that.
کے بدل دامن محبوب کی ٹھنڈی ہوا کا ساتھ ہو، دامن محبوب کی ٹھنڈی ہوا کا ساتھ ہو. ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا. یا الہی بھول جاؤں نزعہ کی تکلیف کو، یا الہی بھول جاؤں نزعہ کی تکلیف کو. ربی سلم کہنے والے غم زدہ کا ساتھ ہو، ربی سلم کہنے والے غم زدہ کا ساتھ ہو. ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا. یا الہی جب پڑھوں نعت محمد مصطفیٰ، یا الہی جب پڑھوں نعت محمد مصطفیٰ، میں وہی پڑھوں تیری جانب سے جو الہام ہو، میں وہی پڑھوں تیری جانب سے جو الہام ہو. ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا. یا الہی جب زبان باہر آئے پیاس سے، یا الہی جب زبان باہر آئے پیاس سے، ساقی کوثر میرے پیارے نبی کا ساتھ ہو، ساقی کوثر میرے پیارے نبی کا ساتھ ہو. ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا. یا الہی شہر مکہ سے مدینے کا سفر، یا الہی شہر مکہ سے مدینے کا سفر، یا الہی شہر مکہ سے مدینے کا سفر، یا الہی شہر مکہ سے مدینے کا سفر. آنا جانا عمر بھر لکھ دے میری تقدیر میں، آنا جانا عمر بھر لکھ دے میری تقدیر میں. ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا ربنا یا ربنا. گزرے دن مکے میں شب گزرے مدینے پاک میں، گزرے دن مکے
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة
الحمد لله الذي أحاط بكل شيء علمه وأحصى كل شيء عدده، له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وما بينهما وما تحت الثرى. أحمده سبحانه واشكره وأتوب إليه واستغفره. نعمه لا تحصى وآلاؤه ليس لها منتهى. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله، وأخشى الناس لربه وأتقاه. دل على سبيل الهدى وحذر من الطريق الرديء، صلى الله عليه وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه معالم الهدى ومصابيح الدجى، والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان وسار على نهجه واقتفاه. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى: من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس، الصحة والفراغ، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه، ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم فصل وسلم وبارك وزد على أحب خلقك لديك وأكرمهم لديك، سيدنا ونبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر، وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر، وأصدقهم حياء عثمان، وأقضاهم علي، وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة، والحسن بن الحسين سيد شباب أهل الجنة، رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. الله في أصحابي لا تتخذهم غرضا من بعدي، فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم، ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم، وخير أمتي قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. أقم الصلاة.
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والسماء والطارق، وما أدراك ما الطارق، النجم الثاقب. إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ. فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق. خلق من ماء دافق، يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب. إنه على رجعه لقادر. يوم تبلى السرائر، فما له من قوة ولا ناصر. والسماء ذات الرجع، والأرض ذات الصدع. إنه لقول فصل وما هو بالهزل. إنهم يكيدون كيدا وأكيد كيدا، فمهل الكافرين أمهلهم رويدا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. اللهم لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله. اللهم لا أحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. اللهم صل على محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم إنا عبادك بنو آمائك نواصينا بيدك ماض فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك نسألك بكل اسم سميت بها نفسك أو أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا وذهاب همومنا ودواء أسقامنا وسائقنا وقائدنا إلى جناتك جنات النعيم. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم فصل وسلم وبارك وزد عليه. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.